Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Mr. Yu was not afraid of Yunxiao's gaze at all. He snorted coldly and said, "What you just used should be Gu Feiyang's pupil technique, moon deficiency, right?" Humph. Gu Feiyang was known as the #1 in spiritual attacks. Any Tom, Dick, or Harry would compete to imitate his pupillary abilities. That Gu Yuesheng thinks that he can rival Gu Feiyang just because he has the immemorial heaven's eye. He's nothing but a piece of shit. Let me give you a piece of advice. Gu Feiyang's major eye bloodline techniques are all based on his extremely strong understanding of art. Only when one's usage of soul power had reached the acme of perfection could one use it at will, changing heaven and earth, and changing time and space. If you're lucky, you can succeed a few times, but if you're unlucky, you'll be devoured by that uncontrollable force before the other party even has to make a move. Yunxiao was taken aback, and his eyes were filled with horror. He didn't expect the other party to have such a deep understanding of his pupillary abilities. However, he had no impression of this person. Although most of the monster race was trapped in the Five-Cloud Mountain, there were still a few scattered monster forces on the heavenly martial continent. He had also seen some powerful demon refinement masters before. Back in the Sea of Soul formation, he had fought with a 9th-rank demon refinement master, and that was how he managed to refine the star/sword. However, Mr. Yu had no impression of him at all. In Mr. Yu's eyes, Yunxiao's horrified expression made him think that he had hit his soft spot. He snorted and said, "I'll be taking her away. You should focus on your cultivation. I'll come and find you again." After saying that, he waved his hand and the space distorted again. Gradually, he and Tang Jia disappeared from everyone's sight. Bin Jia and the others quickly surrounded him and looked around, but they couldn't find anyone. "Where are the 7 people from the Hunter Mercenary Corps?" Zhou Xiang asked in shock. Yunxiao's face was ashen. He had worked hard for nothing, and the fruit of his victory had been stolen by someone else. Those 7 people were directly swept into the void turbulence by his mental power. "I'm afraid they're doomed." "What?" Everyone's expression changed drastically. In the void turbulence, if one was lucky, they could still survive and wait for an opportunity to break out. If they were unlucky and encountered all sorts of energy attacks, even a martial supreme would die without a doubt. And the vast majority of those who were swept into the void turbulence ended up with bad luck. How powerful is his mental power? Bin Jia cried out in shock. He was able to drag 7 martial emperors into the void turbulence in one go. Zhou Xiang's face also turned pale. He felt a wave of fear just thinking about it. "Who is that person?" "You seem to know him, Captain?" "He is Mr. Yu from the Skeleton Mercenary Corps, an 8th-tier Supreme Alchemist." Yunxiao sighed. "What?" Zhou Xiang was shocked. "It's actually him." Bin Jia was also shocked and said with cold sweat, 8th-tier Supreme Alchemist Master? "Captain Cloud Sky, you, are you sure?" The people behind him were also shocked beyond words. An 8th-tier Great Alchemist was a supreme existence that could only be encountered by some super forces or in the Sea of Soul formation. How could they appear out of thin air in the Light Song Woodland, and how could they be from the Skeleton Mercenary Corps? If the Skeleton Mercenary Group had such a character, they should have been able to unify the softly singing woodland a long time ago. An 8th-tier alchemist was enough to attract some martial emperors to work for him. Although the Skeleton Mercenary Group was one of the 3 major mercenary groups, they had always been relatively low-key. He rarely participated in the battle between the Storm Mercenary Group and the Rookie Mercenary Group, but he didn't expect them to hide their strength so deeply. The people from the Mixed Mercenary Group wiped their cold sweat and turned their eyes to Yunxiao. This team leader was not someone to be trifled with. Not only did he dare to kill the young master of the 4 Extremes sect, he had also used 3 9th-tier profound armaments. That was something that even a martial emperor might not have. In terms of identity and status, this mysterious captain was probably even more powerful than the 4 Extremes sect and 8th-tier alchemists. Everyone was making wild guesses, even Binjie and Zhou Xiang, but their attitude toward Yunxiao had become very respectful. Captain Yunxiao, what do we do now? Should we immediately ask for help from the other teams, surround the skeleton mercenary group, and force them to hand over the person? Binjie asked. Although he did not know why Yunxiao had captured Tang Jia, judging from the series of actions just now, the captain was the kind of person who could not wait to make a big fuss. Now that he had suffered a loss from the skeleton mercenary corps, a war was probably going to break out. But, Yunxiao only felt a little worried before he shook his head and said, "Forget it, this matter ends here." Bin Jia was stunned and couldn't believe his ears. He had been acting so arrogantly all this while and even dared to make a move against the Four Extremes sect. How could he just let the skeleton mercenary group go? The rest of the people were also a little dumbfounded. Could it be that this captain also felt fear and knew what fear was? Yunxiao took in everyone's eyes and chuckled. Everyone, go back. What's going to happen next isn't something you can participate in. Everyone's heart skipped a beat, but they were soon overjoyed. When the immortals fought, the mortals suffered. He could finally jump out of this muddy water. The young masters of the Four Extreme sect and 8th-tier alchemists who had just appeared were indeed not people that they could join. One by one, they suppressed their joy and took their leave. Suddenly, a series of rumbling sounds came from the sky in the distance. It felt like the pressure of heaven and earth, pressing down on everyone's heart. Everyone felt extremely uncomfortable and uncomfortable. Could it be that something has happened to Lord Mu Wu? Bin Jia was shocked and looked at the sky in the distance in horror. The battle between two martial honorables was not something they could interfere with. The power of a domain could not be resisted without a great sacred art. Yunxiao's eyes narrowed slightly, and then he suddenly said with great joy, "Mu Wu has broken through. Every time a martial supreme breaks through a star, it will produce an extremely strong pressure of heaven and earth. Everyone, quickly follow me. Under this kind of pressure, you can feel the martial essence of the universe, which will be very beneficial to your cultivation. To sense the 8 desolations' martial intent?" After the great shock, everyone was indescribably excited, and they all rushed into the distance like a swarm of bees. The sky was filled with all kinds of energy, constantly scattering and dissipating in the air. The entire sky was like a torn cloth, with different colors and lights everywhere. It was dark and gloomy, as if it had been patched up, full of holes. One could see the intensity of the battle between the two. Just the aura that remained in the surroundings was enough to shake one's soul. Mu Wu stood quietly in the air, no longer as graceful as before. His upper body was bare, revealing a shocking injury. His chest had been pierced through, but he was not dead. His eyes were clear. Elder Yu's figure had already disappeared, and the outcome was clear. Boom, boom, boom. The sky continued to shake, and the power of the natural order from this world seemed to gradually appear. Under this huge force, the remaining energy quickly dissipated. The terrifying injuries on Mu Wu's body were healing at a speed that could be seen with the naked eye. The laws of heaven and earth are recondensing his domain and physical body. If he doesn't cultivate now, when will he? Yunxiao cried out as he sat down cross-legged and began to feel the power of laws. Although he had long surpassed Mu Wu in terms of martial will, the heaven-earth law that was triggered when a martial honor advanced was still quite rare. With his experience, it was enough for him to make full use of this power of law. As a cultivator constantly increased their yuan qi, they had to gain insight into the laws of the heaven and earth they were in. However, that kind of comprehension of laws was very difficult to achieve without great opportunities and wisdom. This was also a very crucial moment for Mu Wu. In the battle with Elder Yu, he had finally broken through the shackles of the bottleneck and stepped into the 2-star martial supreme realm. How much he could comprehend would have a direct impact on the improvement of his strength and future advancements. This was the second time he had comprehended the laws of heaven and earth, and he had made a lot of preparations for it, so he was soon deeply immersed in it. The cultivators below also revealed a look of joy as they immersed themselves in the rule force. Most of them were martial emperors, so they did not have the right to enjoy such treatment. It was a once-in-lifetime opportunity. In those super forces, every time a martial honor powerhouse broke through, they would gather the outstanding disciples of the sect to comprehend it. Every time a martial venerable broke through to the next star, the rules of heaven and earth that descended would also become stronger and stronger. After reaching the rank of a martial supreme, even a martial supreme would find it difficult to withstand the power of the rules of heaven and earth that would descend upon them with every breakthrough. It was rumored that if one could completely comprehend all the laws of heaven and earth, one would be able to control the power of an entire world and step into the immortal realm. However, this was only a legend. After all, there were records of peerless figures who were suspected to have reached godhood in the history of the continent, but no one could verify them. Yunxiao completely relaxed his mind and let the laws of heaven and earth wash through his body and meridians. His comprehension of the power of a world was far above this bit of heaven-earth law, and his physical body was also able to withstand the pressure. He didn't have to worry about any side effects at all, so he could completely integrate his mind into the law and enjoy the baptism to his heart's content. Many other martial royal realm experts were drenched in cold sweat. They were struggling to hold on, but they gritted their teeth and refused to give up. If he lost this opportunity once, he might not have a second chance in his life. And the benefits it would bring him would far exceed several decades of bitter cultivation. Boom. A faint muffled sound came from inside Yunxiao's body as he was promoted by 1 star. However, the power of the natural order did not stop, and it continued to wash his meridians. A large amount of primordial qi circulated around his body under the push of the natural order, and finally gathered in his dantian. The sea of qi in his dantian was getting stronger and stronger. Even the few 9th-tier profound armaments floating above it were affected and started to glow slightly. Especially the cauldron of mountain and river, which had never been used before. It seemed to be showing signs of movement. Ever since he had obtained the cauldron, he had never used it. When he was refining a profound level weapon, Yunxiao's first choice was this cauldron of mountain and river, but no matter what he did, he could not refine it at all. In the end, he could only give up and choose to forge the dynasty bell and the demonic sky armor. Under the suppression of the laws of the heaven and earth, the cauldron of mountain and river was also slowly revolving. This ghost cauldron, although it's not a transcendent grade, it's still far superior to ordinary 9th-tier profound armaments. No wonder it's used to store the breathing earth and suppress Dijia. After being slightly distracted, Yunxiao returned his mind to his cultivation, ignoring the changes in the purple cauldron of mountains and rivers. Suddenly, he laughed out loud, and all the rule force in the world dissipated. Mu Wu was still covered in blood, but he was full of energy and had a shocking aura. He had already gained great benefits. He looked down and snorted coldly. You guys sure know how to take advantage of the situation. Who allowed you to cultivate in my bed? That extremely powerful domain suddenly spread out, and all the martial artists were caught in it. Their faces changed drastically, and they looked terrified. Yunxiao was not afraid of the domain's influence at all. He stood up and said with a smile, "Brother Mu Wu, please calm down. Since it's their first offense, I'll just pay them some primeval stones." All the people in the mercenary group had black lines on their faces. Your sister, you were the one who asked us to come here to cultivate. Otherwise, no matter how bold you were, you wouldn't dare to enjoy the rules of heaven and earth by the side of a martial supreme. Humph. Mu Wu snorted and said, I'll let you off this time for the sake of Captain Yunxiao. He snorted coldly, causing everyone to shiver in their hearts. Then, his figure flashed and disappeared in the air. The power of the martial venerable's domain also gradually dissipated, and everyone slowly recovered from their panic. The higher one went, the more obvious it was. When you were below the rank of martial emperor, it might be normal for you to challenge those of a higher rank. However, the rank of martial honor was a hurdle. The more you comprehended, the more powerful the power of heaven and earth you could use. Even if you were a peak 9 stars martial emperor, no matter how awesome you were, it would still be difficult for you to contend with a 1-star martial supreme. This was the reason why Tang Jia did not dare to fight with a martial venerable even though he had the refined vermilion bird saber. Yunxiao looked at the crowd and said with a smile, all right, it's fine now. Don't be afraid, everyone. Just pay 10 million medial-grade primordial stones each. 10 million. It's still 1,000 yuan? Everyone was stunned. They were even more frightened than when they were in the domain. Yunxiao's face darkened as he said angrily, 1,000 yuan? Who said that? Stand out. I've saved your lives, and you're asking me to pay 1,000 mid-grade primordial stones. Whoever said that, step forward. I'll give you 1,000 yuan and take your life. Everyone was so scared that they all retreated. No one dared to take a step forward. Yunxiao shook his head and sighed. That's why it's said that it's hard to be a good person in this world. If I had let Muwu slap you to death just now, nothing would have happened. Now, not only was he alive, but he could also enjoy the cultivation of the rules of heaven and earth. Zhou Xiang, take note, if there are any who haven't sent their primeval stones up before dark, pass the name list to Mu Wu and let him handle it. Everyone's expression changed drastically. They looked at the sky and anxiously thought about how to get the primordial stones. If Mu Wu really came looking for him, he probably wouldn't even have the chance to explain himself. Moreover, he had gained great benefits from the baptism of the rules of heaven and earth. Even if he had to pay 10 million mid-grade primordial stones, it would be worth it. Such an opportunity could not be bought with money. Everyone was in a hurry to go back and gather money, so they quickly took their leave. At this moment, a few figures flew over. They were the people from the merchant union, including Hong Yi and some mercenaries with weaker cultivation. Those who had chased after Tang Jie just now were all martial emperors and above. During the battle between Mu Wu and Elder Yu, they had also hidden far away. Only when there was no more movement did they dare to come out. Captain Yunxiao, where's Tang Jie? Shen Li was not in a good position to ask, but she was anxious. Hong Yi immediately asked, her beautiful eyes also looking around. An expert from the skeleton mercenary corps came out of nowhere and saved Tang Jie, Yunxiao said in distress. He saved him. Saved? Hong Yi's expression changed greatly and she said angrily, how is that possible? There are so many of you, could it be that the other party is a martial honor? Yunxiao gave her a cold look and snorted. What's it to you whether or not he's been rescued? Auntie Hong, you look very anxious? Jingnan also frowned as he stared at Hong Yi suspiciously. He still could not figure out why Yunxiao was targeting the Four Extremes sect, and why Tang Jie, as the young master of the Four Extremes sect, was in the Lightsong Forest. However, there must be a big secret that he didn't know about. It seemed that Hong Yi knew about this secret. His eyes were shining. Hong Yi also realized that she had lost her composure. With an angry look on her face, she winked at Yunxiao and said in a sweet voice, Io, it's because I saw that everyone worked so hard and even let the rabbit run away in the end. It's a waste of effort and I feel that it's a pity. Shen Li's expression was also very ugly, and no one knew what she was thinking. Old man Qiao is unparalleled in loyalty and righteousness, Yunxiao said with a smile. But he suffered a disaster. This is all I can do to help you. After all, the skeleton mercenary group's strength is not below our rookie mercenary group. You can handle the rest by yourselves. Jingnan cursed all his ancestors in his heart, but his face was still stern as he said, Captain Yunxiao is a righteous man. He has a deep affection for the merchant union. Shen Li, on the other hand, was stunned, and a bright light flashed in her eyes. When she saw the smile in Yunxiao's eyes, she suddenly understood. She understood what Yunxiao was implying. Tang Jie was from the Four Extremes sect, and they could not capture him in public. However, now that Tang Jie was in the skeleton mercenary group, the Empyrean One Pavilion could attack them directly. Besides, Yunxiao also knew that since His Excellency Tianyi had given such an important order, it was impossible for him not to send experts to the Lightsong Forest. It was just that it was not convenient for him to attack the Four Extremes sect. If he only attacked the skeleton mercenary group, he would have no scruples. Shen Li heaved a sigh of relief and said with a smile, Captain Yunxiao, you're a young man. I hope you can be a distinguished guest of Empyrean One Pavilion. There will be a chance, Yunxiao chuckled. There will be a chance. Now that the western part of the city has just been unified, your Chamber of Commerce must also operate well under the guidance of Miss Ling. Shenli and Jingnan's eyelids twitched, and their anger disappeared in a flash. They laughed and said, naturally, naturally. After that, the two of them each had their own thoughts and left. Hong Yi also put on a coquettish look as she drew a line on Yunxiao's chest with her white fingers and said in a sweet voice, "You're a bad person, forgetting the old with the new." When she turned to leave, she did not forget to give Ding Ling a resentful look. Ding Ling's murderous eyes shot into her body, as if she wanted to kill her with her eyes. Hong Yi sneered and turned to leave. Facing Ding Ling's cold gaze, Yunxiao's forehead was covered in cold sweat. He pointed in the direction where Hong Yi had left and sneered, "She's crazy. Don't mind her." Zhou Xiang took out an iron plate from his ring and handed it to Ding Ling. "Miss Ding, this is an iron washboard. He can use it tonight." Ding Ling angrily grabbed the washboard and directly hit it on Zhou Xiang. The matter of the city's west immediately spread through the entire Qingge woodland like a whirlwind. For a time, everyone on the streets and in the alleys was talking about it. You guys didn't watch it. The leaders of the three mercenary groups fought and killed each other in the end. I'll go with you, your sister. Nonsense. I'm telling you, the four merchant alliances are involved in this. It was a great war between the mercenaries and the merchant union. Even Old Master Qiao died in battle. No way. Old Master Qiao was dead. Then what about the 4 concubines he married in the first half of the year? Don't worry, when Old Master Qiao died, the leader of the Steel Tree mercenary group ran to the Myriad Treasures store to take care of his concubines. If you don't know, then don't talk nonsense. The war between the mercenaries and the merchant union is only a superficial phenomenon. Do you know what triggered this war? Do you know who is the most important person in this war? A shrewd-looking man took a sip of tea and stepped on a stool with his eyes wide open. Who is it? I heard that Li Yunxiao, the newly appointed captain of the 8th team of the rookie mercenary group, seems to have played a very important role. He's not just important. The man slapped his thigh and exclaimed, "This war started because of him." So powerful, hurry up and tell me what happened. You don't know? I'll tell you. The shrewd man enjoyed the atmosphere of attention and began to tell his story. Li Yunxiao has an affair with Song Xiong, the leader of the Four Extremes sect, and Halian Xiao Huang has taken a fancy to Li Yunxiao, so he captured him and forced him to be his exclusive property. At this time, Song Xiong had no choice but to offer himself to Old Man Qiao in exchange for support. On the other hand, Jingnan had always been close to Old Master Qiao. The one Shenli loved was Jingnan's sister. Now that the 4 merchant alliances are united against a common enemy, Commander Hao Lian is naturally no match for them. At this moment, he signed an alliance with Shen Feng and Chen Chuanjiu to defend against the enemy together. An alliance? What alliance under the city? The 3 of them have agreed that after the merchant union is defeated, Li Yunxiao will belong to the 3 of them, and each of them will take turns to enjoy him for a month. TSK. Was Yunxiao that beautiful? So many powerful men like him? Of course. The shrewd man shouted, "We'll become gay friends," in a fit of anger. We all know how lecherous Commander Hao Lian is. Since Li Yunxiao came, all his harem has lost their color. Motherfucker. How come no one likes me when I'm so handsome? Everyone tidied up their hair indignantly, revealing an expression of someone who had a talent that had not been discovered. This kind of messy story quickly derived into countless versions. Before Yunxiao and the other members of the 8th team returned to the north of the city, it had already spread throughout the entire Soft Song woodland.